Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Trap House, and this is a new action thriller from director Michael Dowse, who worked on shows like The Future Man, and directed films like Goon and Stuber, and other films that, are a lot funnier. And this is a film that focuses on a DEA agent and his partner pursue thieves, their own rebellious teens who began robbing the cartel using their parents' tactics and classified intel. This is one of those films where you really have to suspend your disbelief, because this is so ridiculous and unbelievable to me that a bunch of random, smart teenagers, steal a bunch of intel from the DEA and put together a team to rob from cartels and somehow are successful at least a few times. So if you can get past that conceit, I think you can find some enjoyment in this movie. If you can't, then you're going to be super frustrated watching this movie and how this all plays out. I think Dowse struggles with tone here because from the beginning, this has some weight. At the very beginning, you do have some banter between Dave Bautista and Bobby Cannavale, these two partners in the DEA. And they're great together. They have a good dynamic. But it gets really heavy. One of their partners dies. And it leaves this challenging situation where one of the teens has to move away because they can't afford to stay in the house. And, this group of teenagers has, a good reason for doing this to support their friends. But, this is ridiculous and completely unbelievable. I think Dowse delivers some solid action. None of this is particularly impressive or gonna really grab your attention, but it's serviceable and it has some intensity. But I think the film lacks a good real tension, except there's one particular scene where one of them has some unfortunate after effects of one of their heists, and that was one of the few moments that really felt intense. Narratively, right off the bat, the conceit of the film's ridiculous, but there is some good heart, because there's this father-son dynamic between Bautista and his son that I would imagine is one of the reasons why Bautista wanted to join in. There's some twists and turns in this, where it's oh, I didn't see that coming. And it adds some interesting layers and complexities to the story that makes it a little bit more interesting to get past, some of the ridiculous aspects that make absolutely no sense. And there is some heart. This is a good, group of friends kind of dynamic. There is that conflict of some of them are a little bit more on board with this whole situation than others. And, it is dealing with drug cartels and stuff like that. There's some weight there. Don't know how well this really digs into that, but it also, has a little bit of commentary about the challenges of, government agents who, die or get injured, don't really have the support for them and their families. And this film only seldomly really rises above this ridiculous premise. Overall, it kind of just falls flat. But, there's some standouts. I think the young cast is solid and serviceable, but Sophia Lillis, she's a really talented young actor. She stands out. I think Bautista gives a fine performance. Bobby Cannavale in that supporting role, I think, does as well. Tony Dalton, who's the head of this cartel, definitely has some of those moments where he really gets to throw out his personality there. And Kate Del Castillo, I think, is a little underutilized. She's a little intimidating, though. I could appreciate her energy that she brings there. It certainly has some shocks and turns, might obnoxiously set up for a sequel, but it certainly never rises to the occasion and kind of gets bogged down by the ridiculousness of the story and a lot of the familiar elements and the serviceable direction, but nothing to really elevate the material in a specific way. But those are my thoughts on Trap House. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.